This 90 Cummins regular cab four-wheel drive is from North Carolina. A buddy of ours, a customer named Philip, and this has been in his family for a long time, and they've gone over this truck a couple different times and they've redone it, but it's always been a pretty hard-worked farm truck. He told me that the hubs have been in most of its life, and his dad said, if it don't go, it can't stay. I think that was the line. If it don't go, it can't stay. So it's been their hard-working farm truck, and Philip has definitely decided it's time for a full-on makeover, modernization. He wants to drive it like he does normally for work. Out of his, he drives a 2016 Ram, and he likes driving this, but it's not the truck you drive and keep a notebook with you and your cup of coffee and hook up your trailers, because as good as these trucks are, they're old and they are rough riding, and this one's a 5-speed, so that means he's got to shift gears, do all that stuff. And as great as this truck is, it's not what he wants it to be. He and his family love the truck, and we're going to rip into it and make it a really nice truck. So the goal for this truck, when it's done, is a modernized first gen that you can bring your notebook, your coffee cup, and go hook up to 4 trailers a day and do some work out of it. So it will get a lot of nice features that really make it a modern truck. And you know, yes, it's a 1990. Which isn't horribly old, but a 1990 Dodge was no different than a 1972 Dodge was, which was a pretty minor makeover from the 60s Dodges. So the technology involved in this truck is pretty lousy for what we drive today. Anything from a properly engineered steering linkage system to Hydro Boost brakes instead of vacuum, which on a diesel truck, of course, vacuum really has no place, but they just operated on a leftover system, so that's what they used. We're gonna upgrade all those kind of things. These leaf springs make this thing ride almost exactly like a hay wagon, and we're gonna completely ditch the leaf springs. We're going to completely modernize this truck. It's still going to be a rough and tough old truck, but hopefully when it's done, not only will he want to drive it for work, but just like everybody who deals with an old hobby play toy truck has to deal with, he wants to take his wife out and her not complain about the truck. And that's important, and it's halfway difficult parameters to work with. So it's a regular cab 4-wheel drive manual transmission, and it's probably going to be turned into an automatic. But it'll be a racy automatic that's ready to hold some power, and it will be way up on power because it's got a tiny little anemic stock turbo that's non-intercooled, and it will be intercooled, and it will have compound turbos and really be able to run. So it'll get some fuel mileage, but at the same time make some serious power. Right now this thing does not make any power. It's very slow. Still fun to drive, but very slow. So we'll get out and we'll walk around this vehicle so you can see a little what's going on. He thinks he wants to run a stack, but he's got toolboxes all the way around the bed and needs to keep them. So we're going to probably do something to modify one of those toolboxes to be able to run a stack through there and let him keep his utilitarian bed but still have a stack. We haven't decided on that yet, but we'll figure it out. We have a suspension system designed for these trucks that bolts on your frame with some factory holes, but you got to drill quite a few holes, and allows you to run a 4-link suspension front and rear in connection with 03 to 12 Dodge Ram axles. And that's going to be the key to this. He got a hold of us wanting full air suspension, but the more we talked about what he wants to do with his truck, and the more we were trying to make his budget go as far as possible on all the subjects he wanted to touch on this truck, the more we realized he's probably just fine with a set of coil springs in the front, and we'll do some air in the back. That's not centered around showing off how funky your suspension can move, but more centered around hooking up to trailers and just general driving. So we think that's what the angle's going to be, so it'll still be our same kit, but it just won't be air suspension in the front. It'll be a different set of bags for the rear than we would normally pick. Should be a pretty nice setup. Going to be sized to drive nice on a set of 35s or something like that. And definitely a lot smoother and modern feel than not only the leaf springs give you, but then a set of kingpins on a front axle will give you. Honestly, the truck drives pretty good for what it is. They've definitely been taking care of it, but needs it upgraded. This road's real bumpy through here. It doesn't matter if you have leaf springs or not, it's bumpy. So what you see here is what we call a pretty nice first gen. At this point, a lot of them are in a lot worse shape, but as nice as it is, it's not nice enough for maybe him to feel proud of all the time, and I know exactly what he means. You get a few heavy things sliding over the bed of your truck, and these Dodge tailgates wear out, so we're going to get him another tailgate. That bumper's going to be gone with one of our bumpers. We're going to get rid of the lower trim and go with red from the two-tone down. Probably keep the metal trim up on top because we want to keep it classy and classic looking like it is while modernizing it. These mirrors wear out pretty quick, and they're wore out. A lot of miles on those things. And again, as nice as these might be, and you can see from his seat cover that they've taken a lot of care of this truck. As nice as this might be, this kind of thing and the rag in the floor vent, those just indicate that these trucks were not up for the long-term wear and tear that Cummins engine could dish out. So there's almost no rust on this truck, although it's been redone before, but there's a little bit of rust in the front fenders, and just enough to say it needs a little TLC. But again, like I said before, this guy really wants to drive this daily and for work. Some of us would say, shoot, I'd drive this truck exactly like it is, but he's driving a 16 truck, trying to get work done all day, hooking up trailers, etc. This thing needs to just come around to a whole different feature. I'll pop the hood here. We'll look underneath the hood. You'll see that it's pretty original. Sorry about my dirty work clothes. I've been working all day. Wiring harness is very good over there. That's nice to see. No one's been messing with that wiring harness too much over there. And you can see it's non-intercooled here, so we're gonna have to fix that. That'll be a little bit of a challenge because these grills don't leave you much room to put an intercooler behind. But somehow or another, we're going to make sure this truck is intercooled. And that'll be a project. We'll hopefully end up making a kit out of it so that someone can do it again, like you. Pretty nice underneath the hood for being a well-used truck. So I'm glad for that. But we're going to have it all out. We're going to have it all cleaned up. Replacing this super, super tiny, cute little whole set turbo with a set of diesel power source compounds. And the compounds on a first gen like this are going to do everything it needs to do to keep EGTs low. Compounds aren't really needed. A single turbo does a whole bunch for working in the correct power range, but it's going to run better, and it's definitely going to run cooler on EGTs. It will be a work machine with those little compounds on there.